Good morning, everybody. It has been 6 months since I started on this microbiome diet that I've been talking about occasionally. And I'm just back here because I got a rave on this. It's fantastic, the results. Yes, it's amazing. I started on this because after the third case of COVID, it had wiped out my gut flora so bad that I lost my energy, my enthusiasm had disappeared, my general positive attitude about life and everything. It disappeared, and I really wanted it back. I was frightened. I had done reading about the possibility that fecal transplants could take care of this. Of course, we all know most of us eat plenty of crap, right? Yeah, so that wasn't a thing. You know, research led me to the microbiome diet, which most of my life I've cooked my meals. Most of my life I've raised a lot of my own food or harvested it from the wild and so on. So I have a pretty good idea about how one puts foodstuffs together so that proteins are balanced, so you'll have enough, vitamins and so on and so forth. Basic standard nutrition, I guess, at least at the level that somebody might have learned it in a high school home ec class, which I never had. Yeah, anyway, what I didn't realize my entire life, that when I was doing this, I was feeding the body, the human body. I was feeding my cells, but I wasn't feeding the microbiome that lived in my body. And, more than 20 years ago, I had a fair idea there were other things in and on me, but it wasn't until about 20 years ago that the research came around. We had the technology to understand how we are mostly microbes in here, and that those microbes are extremely important to our health. As an example, humans really cannot digest fiber. Cows do that, they got rumens, but we really don't. Well, but yet we keep saying, eat more fiber, Well, one of the reasons we do that is because it actually feeds certain organisms that live inside of us that break down fiber. Same goes with polyphenols. That's the colors in a lot of our foods, We don't really use them too much. They are antioxidant quality, and so they do scavenge free radicals in the body, but they feed microbes that live inside of us. So this was sort of an epiphany for me when I began to understand that my basic diet planning was, in a way, all wrong. That's feeding me. I wasn't feeding the critters that live with me. So COVID pushed me over the edge with it, and I say in every dark cloud there's a silver lining. Yeah, I had 3 cases of COVID, and man, I was whacked from it too. So anybody else out there who has had COVID and you just don't feel the same afterwards, energy's low, you can't accomplish tasks you used to, you just really, enthusiasm may have dwindled, please try feeding your microbiome. All right. Now, because I knew it was injured, all right, but I understood that usually our beneficial microbes are only in hiding and repressed by usually more undesirable microbes, and so it is possible to restore the gut biome even after severe damage just by treating it right. So here we are 6 months later. Man, I feel better than I have had in years. Truly. My smile's back. I have no idea whether spontaneous bursts of laughter have anything to do with this, but I I just find myself laughing out loud every once in a while. A lot of things seem funny, and I mean, hey, let's face it. We got World War going on, I suppose, and then there's fascists trying to get in the White House. This don't look too funny, but what can I tell you? Well, so because I knew it was critical, I started out with a jump start. And I'm still taking it now. We're 6 months later, and I'm still taking, this is a pre and probiotic, okay, supplement. Most of us know about probiotics. I don't hear the word prebiotics around there very much. Okay, the probiotics, of course, are, the things that we culture our intestines with, like the lactobacillus that's in yogurts, and things like that, fermented foods and all that sort of thing. The pre's, though, are actually the things, they're the food stuffs, okay? They're part of the food stuffs, and they happen up here rather than down here. And so taking probiotics, if your gut biome has been damaged without addressing prebiotic, isn't going to work as well. So let's start off first by talking about food colors and food quantities, all right? Basic idea. You want to be able to consume at least 20 or 30 different plant materials every week. It's not as hard as it sounds, okay? Right, it is, and I'll show you why in a minute. But we really are looking at more of a plant-based diet here. There's nothing wrong with consuming, fish, chicken, red meat. Now, these things should be more in limited quantities to the plants that are coming into the diet, but there's nothing wrong with eating them. Here on the Big Island, we're in luck because all our local beef is grass-fed, and they don't use hormones or things on it. And when the cows live entirely on grass, the polyphenols in the grass end up in the meat, and so grass-fed beef can actually be fairly good for you. Okay, so fruits. Absolutely, fruits. I don't know. I mean, maybe it's because there's this blood sugar problem, around the country. There's so much diabetes. Everybody's afraid of sugar. I got guys over here who just they won't touch any of the fruit I grow. Oh no, I can't eat sugar. Well, in general speaking, the sugars that are contained in fruits are slow release. They're not super fast, but this diet relies on consuming considerable amounts of fruits. I'm in luck. I grow a lot of them, and the ones I don't grow, well, I like eating them anyway, and I buy them. So fruits and vegetables, in both cases, you want to be focused on fiber, and you want to be focused on polyphenols. All right. So, for instance, I've eaten most of them with my cereal this morning, but these right here are Mysore Black Raspberry. They're freshly picked from my garden. The Mysore is heavy in polyphenols, and it is also heavy in fiber. Berries are wonder food. Okay, you don't have to peel berries. Yeah, they are loaded with the fiber that you need, and these coloring agents are antioxidant, and they're feeding your microbe. The blueberries, oh, another one of my favorites. Berries. Again, exactly the same type of situation there. Okay, so now moving on through fruits and vegetables. Unfortunately, here in Hawaii, I don't grow a lot of fruits that have an edible skin. I got bananas. The skin ain't good for much. I got a lot of citrus, with the exception of kumquats. You can't really eat the skin on those things, and on and on. A lot of the temperate climate fruits, though, are quite apt, and we do sell them here at the local health food store. You can get organic apples. This is organic Anjou pear. Come from Island Naturals over here. I happen to like these. I grew up in the Midwest, and then in California we raise a lot of these things. Okay, so skin. don't peel them. Seriously, wash them off good, and and then put them into your food. Eat them with the skins on. Here's an example. Say, for instance, one of our popular local fruits. This is a pineapple. Now, pineapples are great. There's just so many different things about them that are good for you, but again, you can't eat the skin. So, nevertheless. Moving right along into the world of vegetables, okay. Most of us love potatoes. They're good for us. If you can get the colored purple ones, eat them. They're even better for you. But don't remove the peels. So ideally, I would suggest grow and or buy organic potatoes so you don't have any nasty chemicals and things like that on them. Just dirt. Okay, scrub them off, eat them. Carrots. Same situation. If these came fresh out of your garden, the carrot can just be scrubbed a little bit with a brush, and it's usually good to be eaten. If you bought it from the store, the skin is probably hard set, and so, or if it's been in storage, you're going to have to probably peel it to make it good. Carrots are good though. Excellent fiber, good vitamin contents, and so on. When you go around to get eating the onions, hey, you got a choice here. This is a red onion. Okay, them red onions have more polyphenols in them than the white onions do. Now, when it comes to salad greens, which I highly advocate eating a lot of salads in the diet, because it's easy to put 10 vegetables sometimes, half a dozen vegetables into a single salad, and then add other things that have polyphenols. This right here is a bit of radicchio that's still left. This has a lot of polyphenols. It's a purple vegetable. We have red cabbages, for instance. Excellent idea. Both red and green lettuces are really good for us. And this is the basis of most of the salads that we'll put together. Lettuce has decent fiber. It has nutrition. And as I said, it's also a great base to be holding things. Yeah, and also, don't forget baby greens. Yeah, the little salad bowl mixes. In the store, they're pretty expensive if you gotta buy them, but it's worth it. Buy them with color. That's right. If you're growing them, plant the mixes that have colors. All right, next, I will continue here with polyphenols. Okay. Now, when it comes to tea, this is Roselle, the edible hibiscus, okay? That is loaded with them, all right? Actually, dark chocolate. It's loaded with these things. If you're looking for a snack, 70% cacao chocolate bars are really, really good for you, okay? Well, speaking of chocolate, coffee. Loaded with polyphenols. Again, excellent food for us. Feeds the microbes. Now, I drink mine black. I definitely advocate that. But, if you gotta sweeten it up or something, try some agave nectar or some other yacon nectar, some, lower glycemic index thing. But it's good the way it is, honest. Yeah, well, nuts and seeds. Fiber, polyphenols. Walnuts, excellent. Eat them in all kinds of different foods. Pecans. Pecans are the top of the tree when it comes to polyphenols in a nut. They are really good for you, okay? Spices. Yeah. Believe it or not, spices, they're really good for your system. Well, garlic, a lot of other reasons why people would eat garlic. It's good for resisting disease. It will keep your enemies away when you exhale on them and so forth, So that's a good product. It's good in the colon. But other seasonings, okay? These are spices here. Here we got some ancho chili powder, for instance. Very high in polyphenols. This right here is ground cumin, comino. That's another good one. Now we talk about blends of spices, though, because here we have commercial curry powder that I've purchased. I make my own sometimes, but the idea here is that this has at least a dozen different spices inside a single can. This is a mix, and so when you put this on your food, you have 12 of the plants that you were looking for that week. All right. Chili powder, cumin together with a little garlic powder in a shaker. That's a Mexican seasoning. You can use it on stuff. When you make mixes of things, this is going to allow you to be getting more different plants in one dose. So make mixes, use mixes of spices and things. Right here, this one comes out of the factory that way. It's a Japanese, very popular here in Hawaii. It's made with mostly sesame and seaweed, but maybe a little high in sodium, I suppose, because it is tasty. This is furikake. We all know this over here. It's a rice seasoning from Japan, very popular. We eat poke, put it on the rice and so on. It's good on a lot of different things. I grilled aku fish yesterday and topped it with this. One more time on polyphenols. Cold pressed extra virgin olive oil. Balsamic vinegar. Okay, both of these. Insanely rich polyphenols. I'm advocating salads instead of all that goopy mayo salad dressing and stuff, that's higher in calories and whatnot. Try dressing your salads with these. These are actually my favorite salad dressings on earth, personally. Yeah, both of them, if you're going to use them, go for the good stuff. There's cheap olive oils out there. They're not very good. They probably haven't got the polyphenols. You want cold pressed extra virgin. If you can get the gourmet stuff out of California, it's usually pretty high grade. Balsamic vinegar comes out of Italy, and there are various grades of this too. When you start paying $25, $30 a bottle, you're getting the good stuff, and you'll love it. It doesn't take very much. It's very potent, strong tasting stuff. Let's talk some more about fiber. Okay. Whole grains. All right. This is organic brown rice. Okay, I get tired eating rice around here, trust me, because there's a lot of it. But most of it, what we see, is the white Calrose, sushi rice, which is extremely high glycemic index, man. And honestly, scary stuff. It's like eating table sugar almost. I wouldn't be consuming much of it. The brown rice, on the other hand, slow release. Basmati rice has a nice aroma. And if you really got to have the Calrose, it does come in brown, and it's a slower release. Cereals, whole grain cereals. Right here we have buckwheat, cracked buckwheat. I like that one, it's good. I've been eating buckwheat for years. Now here's a great idea. This one brand is Bob's Red Mill, which I happen to advocate. This is a really tasty brand. This is a 5 grain. Okay, so it's a whole grain cereal with 5 grains right here. This morning for breakfast, I chopped some pecans. I took my 5 grain cereal. I got the pot started, put the cereal in, put in chopped pecans. After I took it off of the fire and it was ready to eat, I added blueberries to it. I added the black raspberries that are missing here. I added chopped apples to it, and I added chopped pears. Okay, so let's make a count. 5, right? 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay, so for breakfast, I had 10 plants in the single bowl, and of course, never have breakfast without my coffee. All right, so you get the idea. This is not hard to do. So, I like pancakes. Yeah, most pancakes are pretty highly processed, but there are a few brands out there of ready-to-go pancake mixes that are, as this one says, 100% whole grains. All right, and some of them I don't like the way they taste. This one, this is their buttermilk mix. This one is really tasty. In fact, it tastes so good that when I used blueberries in it the other day, I really didn't feel like I needed my maple syrup. And next, let's talk about fermented foods. Now, this is most of what I've been dealing with over here is really in the prebiotic category. Now, as far as probiotics, there we're really starting to get into things that have living cultures in them. Okay, so really, I think one of the most popular living cultures on Earth is yogurt. All right, you see this stuff everywhere. It's really caught on in the United States these days. I like it. This is Greek. Okay, and it is my favorite. I highly recommend it. It's great with fruit in it. Oh gosh, you want a dessert, very healthy dessert. Blueberries, raspberries, any other fruit that isn't highly acidic, stirred into yogurt, yum, yum, yum. Frozen fruits stirred into yogurt are really a treat. There are other, cottage cheese is a cultured material. It's really good with pineapple. Yeah, I love it with pineapple. Needs no extra sweetening. It's absolutely delicious food that way. Kefir, which is another cultured milk thing, that's popular. It doesn't really fit into my diet the way I eat, but a lot of people like it, and it's good. Yeah. Then let's talk about some of the other fermented foods. These are not exactly cultured like this. Here, with yogurt and cottage cheese, we actually insert a specific type of organism. When it comes to things like kimchi, okay, 9 times out of 10, especially if you're making kimchi here at home, I'm just catching, wild stuff out of the atmosphere. There's some acidophilus and stuff out here that they get into the mix. The salt that you use in kimchi is what limits what will actually grow in the batch. That and temperature too. Kimchi is not cooked. Kimchi is sold in the stores in the cooler case. The cultures that are in here are alive, and they will grow inside your body. They are good for you. Pickles, same thing, but cultured pickles, that is. These are crock cured pickles. They manufacture, may actually have a culture they're putting into the vat or not. I've done this many, many times at home, and I make my own cultured pickles just by catching, again, wild organisms out of the air that probably, literally, I suspect they're actually on the cucumber. That does happen with grapes. Original wine was because that blush on a grape is actually a yeast, and different types of grapes have different yeasts and so on and so forth. So I probably rides right in with it. Sauerkraut, same thing. I'm positive that the organisms that make sauerkraut ride right in with the cabbage when they're made. Now, this is not canned. This is refrigerated. They're in a jar, but they were not killed. You get any pickle that is canned and you're taking it off of a room temperature shelf, the culture in those pickles is dead, if it ever had one at all. So that's not the food you're looking for. You got to get the ones out of the refrigerator or off the deli counter and make your own. And they're good for you. I hope that kind of give you an idea of what you need to do. Sorry, no recipes at this point here. I've had people ask me, but use your imagination. And the whole idea is many ingredients, many plants combine a lot of things. If you're making beans, which beans, by the way, are very good for you in this, a lot of fiber, all right? A lot of fiber in beans. Combine 3 different kinds, in the dish. I made cornbread and ranch beans for my helpers over here the other day. And, I had plants in there, chilies and onions and garlic and some celery and stuff, but 3 different kind of beans in there. So there you go. All right, and when it comes to sweets and treats, well, mixes of nuts, excellent. All right, mix different sorts of nuts together and use them for a snack instead of potato chips or something. Fruit salads. You take all kinds of different fruits and stir them together in a bowl. I have really not found a limitation on that. Almost any fruit will go up alongside with any other fruit when you make it in a mix. They're very, blackberries will mess up your apples. They turn black. Otherwise, yeah, and so again, cottage cheese and pineapple or peaches or whatever, yogurt and fruits, yogurt and vegetables too, by the way. Yeah, yogurt with cucumbers and onions and tomatoes in it. Good on your savory dishes. Otherwise, last straw, nothing else works out. I suggest halva. It's a candy. No, it's Middle Eastern thing. A lot of you probably know this stuff. I became in contact with it because my mother once worked for Hebrew grain traders in Chicago. When they had parties, they'd bring in halva, and there was always leftovers. Anyway, it's made almost entirely out of sesame seeds. This is the type that has pistachio nuts in with it, ground sesame. It's sweet, there's sugar in there, but there's also one heck of a lot of fiber. There's a lot of polyphenols, and a little bit of it is really quite satisfying. Absolutely delicious. If you have never had halva, try it, especially the pistachio variety. Anyway, there you go, folks. The presentation has really been entirely because, man, I feel good. I feel good, and if you aren't feeling good and you have had COVID, I would suggest trying this. Even if you haven't had COVID, but you still realize the standard American diet is literally almost toxic to our biome. Yeah, the highly processed foods we have will literally damage our gut biomes, and so if you eat too many of those McDonald's quarter pounders, the listeria on the onions is not only going to kill you and put you in the hospital, but the general diet will pretty much mess up your system to a point that I don't really see how you can be happy. It's a possibility that so much of the unhappiness we see in this country right now is because we all eat nothing but French fries and they're peeled. I can't attest to that, but I can tell you, changing the diet to feed my microbes, I feel like a new man. Aloha. Thank you for watching.